Welcome in, everyone. It's a little after 8 o'clock, and we've had some nasty weather in North Texas this evening, but it is winding down just a little bit. But we're going to go through all the details. And my apologies for hopping on a little late. I had a city council meeting tonight, so had to take care of business first, but luckily our meeting didn't last too long, so I was able to get back over here and update everybody on the weather. So we've had obviously some severe weather in North Texas. Luckily, the storm that produced a lot of hail in the northeastern part of Parker County, southeastern, I think it'd be Jack County, Young County, and then parts of Denton County, numerous reports of 2-inch hail and larger. Luckily, that storm has died down. As a matter of fact, as you can see from the radar, it's not even severe warned anymore. So that's definitely good news. That storm has definitely wound down somewhat. However, we are not out of the woods yet. So you can see currently we have a tornado warning for the storm that's down in Johnson County, about to head over into Ellis County to the east. Now, I will say, in looking at some of the observations, it looks like the rotation is not quite as strong as it was prior. So that's good, but they're probably not going to let go of that warning yet until it gets a little weaker, or at least until the rotation gets to where they feel like it's not going to produce. I haven't seen any reports, but if we zoom in on this, but I would say if you, well, let me get off this screen here. That would help. All right, so let's focus on this tornado warning storm here. So you can kind of see in the reflectivity, it's got a little bit of a circulation pattern to it, but let's look at the velocity. And yeah, so you can still see you have some of this green color that goes toward the radar, which the radar sight's right here. The red goes away, so you have this kind of circulation right here. Matter of fact, I'll get my drawing tool back on that. So it's broad. You have this rotation going like this. So it's a pretty broad rotation. I can see why that they're thinking they're certainly not going to extend it if this pattern continues. But if you know anybody that lives Midlothian, out that way, northern Ellis County, just just give them a heads up if you know anybody there. It's nothing terribly concerning. Like I said, oh yeah, there's the latest scan, and the rotation is even weaker. So they may even cancel that warning early. So, but still, just if you know about it, that there's still going to be a nasty storm. So if you live anywhere in Ellis County, pretty much, if I can draw, which I can't apparently, but anywhere in Ellis County from Waxahachie north, and that's something just I want to keep an eye on that storm for our friends down south. Now let's go back to reflectivity. And hello, Andrew. Hello, Kara. Yes, yay for Facebook Live, Kara. Yes, absolutely. So anyway, so that's the storm that's tornado warned, but again, I don't see anything terribly concerning about it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Weather Service either expires that one or just lets it, or expires it or cancels it early, not sure. But let's focus back on these line of storms here. So as I talked about earlier in the day, this is kind of what we would hope that would happen. Although that storm before, the supercell that was in southwestern Denton County, obviously if you were under that, it wasn't very pleasant for you. We're going to put this in motion here and see. You kind of see the evolution of these storms. Now, again, like I said, the good news is that you can see in the very beginning of this framed loop that you see the storms, definitely a supercell by itself. And then as these storms kind of consolidated, congealed, merged, whatever you're going to call it, that tends to take the hail threat way down. Of course, like I said, that storm by itself is not even warned anymore, although there is a special weather statement on it. And we can check that real quick, see what we got here on that wording. Yeah, nickel-sized hail, gusty winds. That's not. I'm not surprised. Like I said, that storm is on the wind down. Hopefully, it will stay that way. But we do have a very volatile atmosphere, so it's something that we can't let our guard down yet. But it's something that we definitely want to watch. Now, to kind of give you some graphics. So as I mentioned in my text update earlier, see if I can get the right monitor here. Yeah, there we go. So we do have a couple of watches in the area. We have a tornado watch, which is in yellow on this map, until 9 p.m. So that's basically Denton, Sherman, northwest from there. Then the pink is a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 p.m. It covers Dallas-Fort Worth. It did originally, but they expanded it airily a couple hours ago, and probably for good reason. But you don't see anything, any severe weather watches east or southeast of Dallas-Fort Worth. Now, that could change. But right now, the storms are behaving enough to where it's not may not see that extended. I haven't seen any indication that they will. Now, again, this is a volatile situation, so we're not out of the woods yet for sure. Certainly until this line moves through. All right, so let's go back to the radar here and get a better idea of what's going on here. All right, so got another warning coming up. Let's see what it is. Let's see. Oh yeah, there you go. Just popped it up. So okay, so that's not surprising. So that's part of that tornado warning storm. That's that line of storms that are moving to the east northeast. It's going to clip southern Dallas County and go through most of Ellis County. And let's see what the threat is. I would be surprised if this is a bigger wind threat. Yeah, 65 mile an hour winds and quarter size hail. So not really a hail threat, although even if you have quarter size hail with 65 mile an hour winds, that's that's certainly not good. So south of us is looking a little dire for the wind and hail threat, and that would be basically south of Interstate 20. So if you know anybody that lives in anywhere east of I-45, south of I-20 in Kaufman County, they're not warned yet, but it's something. Just give them a heads up, give them a text, especially if you live in Terrell, Kaufman, even Forney. Like I said, it's a little ways away, but it never hurts to kind of get prepared ahead of time for that. But do have the severe thunderstorm warning for a good chunk of Ellis County and southern Dallas County until 9:15, so about an hour or so. So that's, again, based on what we're seeing. All right, so let's zoom in a little bit here to Dallas-Fort Worth proper. And so you can see we definitely got these heavier showers and thunderstorms along this line here. This line has congealed, so like I said, which is really good news from the standpoint of hail. Now, gusty winds, that's certainly a possibility, and a lot of lightning, probably pretty loud. So it's about 8:12 now. So, this line is going to move through Collin County and Dallas County within the next hour or so. So really, it's already starting to enter. Well, it's kind of almost in the central part of Collin County. I take that back. I'm sorry, just entering into the western part of Collin County. So, if you live anywhere from the county line in Collin County, that's Anna, places like that, South, McKinney, Allen, Plano, along the the US 75 corridor, Frisco, of course. Be prepared for stormy weather. There is no warnings in effect, so that's good. Now, that could change, but there is no warnings in effect, so that's good news. But it's going to be stormy, that's for sure. It doesn't mean you can't see some hail. You could see some pea-sized hail, or anything less than severe size hail, which is less than an inch in diameter. So you could see nickel-size hail with these storms. Very gusty winds. So it's, even though you don't have it warned, doesn't mean that you can't have a stormy situation. So just keep that in mind. All right, so Andrew, let's see. Just have thunderstorms up here currently. Andrew's up in northern part of Collin County, so that's good. Thank you for that report, Andrew. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I got my assignment for my master's degree, so I need the power to stay on. Yeah, no, we all need the power to stay on, Andrew, but you do especially, so hopefully that will stay that way. Although you're about, I don't know if you have the worst of it yet, Andrew, but the worst of it's not too bad right now, so that's good. All right, so let's put this in motion here. Don't see anything else in the comments, but if you have a question, just put that in the comments. Hopefully I can see it. That's the goal anyway. I'm going to check something real quick while that's going in motion just to make sure I'm not missing anything. No, good. All right, good. So that's awesome. I'm not missing anything. Okay, so you can see the general motion is east-northeast, really more of an east component than it had before. So again, this is going to, if you're just joining us, you're going to have some stormy weather if you're anywhere east of 35W, Collin County, the eastern part of Denton County, all of Dallas County, and of course, if we zoom this out a little bit, you do have a little bit nastier storms in the southern part of the area, Ellis County in particular. And even though there's a hail threat with there, it's really more of a wind threat between the two. Andrew, was the purple left of Frisco for hail? Yes, it was. But if we zoom in, at least on this radar scan, you don't see any purple. So that's, technically the purple on the reflectivity, it's not always technically hail. It's just that it technically is very, very heavy precipitation. But a lot of times, yes, when you see the purple on the reflectivity, It most of the time it is hail, but it's not guaranteed to be hail. What we'd like to do for that is we'd like to look at the hydrometer classification, and that's actually a better indicator of where hail is. So on this screen, the dark green is really, really heavy rain. And then the red can be a smaller type hail mixed in with the heavy rain, typically marble to nickel size hail. So you can kind of see in this hydrometer layer on the radar where you could see hail. Now, where you see red, it doesn't necessarily mean it's all hail, but it just means it could be some hail mixed in. So I think the bottom line, go back to the reflectivity here. So that storm, let's focus on Collin County for a second. So this is probably the most strongest part of the storm here in Collin County, and this is a remnants, if you will, of that supercell that was in southwest Denton County earlier that was dropping to 2-inch hail in some spots. I think even bigger if I read all the reports correctly. Quite like that was in a council meeting, so I couldn't read the reports at the time. So it's not, like I said, it's not severe warned. It does have a special weather statement on it. So just something to keep in mind. Now, I will say, we'll stop this. We are in as I talked about this morning, we are in a atmospheric situation that is conducive for severe thunderstorms. Luckily, we don't have a lot of that right now in the general area. Now, again, if we expand out, the bigger concern is for Ellis County. And so if you know anybody in Waxahachie, for example, or anybody that lives in that area, I want to show you something here. So you can say this Boeing structure. So this is a classic indicator of strong winds. And so you see this Boeing just south of Midlothian, curling back over to Maypro like this. So that's why if you're in the Waxahachie area, or if you know anybody in the Waxahachie area, like I said, just give them a text, give them a heads up that strong winds are definitely coming your way. That's for sure. As a matter of fact, if we put the velocity on here, let's get out of here, and we'll see what kind of winds the radar is depicting. Yeah. All right, so let's put our tool on here. Yeah, so there's an 87 mile an hour, measurement velocity wise in the radar. Now you have to remember what happens is this is the radar site right here, and it sends this beam out this way. So this is actually not 87 miles an hour at the surface, at the ground. It is up about 2, 3, 4,000 feet, give or take. So it doesn't mean that the 87 miles an hour is on the ground, but it does go to show you though that this has some very strong winds in it, and likely at least some of that momentum is being transferred to the surface with the downdraft. So it is something definitely going to be something to watch. And even on this leading edge, it's quickly, there's almost a 50 mile an hour gust right there. So again, that's probably the biggest concern we have in North Texas right now. Okay, so let's go back to reflectivity real quick. And we'll turn our tool off. Let's get a little bit bigger picture on what's going on. Okay, so let's get a really big picture here. All right. So if you remember from earlier, most of Oklahoma was in a moderate risk, kind of depicted by a red shading. You don't see that anymore, so the Storm Prediction Center downgraded that risk level to enhanced. That's what the orange is. The yellow is slight risk, and the green is marginal, dark green, and then the light green is just general thunderstorms. So a couple things, like I said, we're not out of the woods yet, but it is looking better as far as what we could see in the Metroplex the next hour for most of us. Is that we had the cap most of the day, and that definitely helped keep things at bay for the most of the afternoon, like we thought. And then as we also thought that towards sunset the cap would start to weaken a little bit, which it did, and that's allowed that supercell thunderstorm to form in southwest Denton County. And it's just like anything else. If you're under that, it's bad news. But if you're anywhere on the either side of it, not that far away, you're always like, hey, well, what's the big deal? So that's just the nature of supercell thunderstorms. Now, like I said, the best thing that we could hope for in this environment is what we're seeing right now is these storms congeal into a line. Now, again, that doesn't mean that there's no danger whatsoever, but it's just the biggest threat as far as large hail with supercells has waned a little bit. Now, like I said, I don't want to let our guard down totally, but it's looking better than it was. Hello, Kelly. Should Woodbridge prepare for hail? Yeah, well, should you prepare for hail? Yes. What is the likelihood of it? What is it compared to what it was maybe 2 hours ago? It's not near as likely. Now, having said that, let me check some reports here because I don't know if we've gotten any more hail reports lately. But could Woodbridge, which is in Saxe, if you don't know, could you see some hail? Yes. It's certainly not, at least at this point, it's not severe type hail, inch in diameter or greater. I don't know that we've gotten any reports out of those storms. Let's see. Most of the comments are concerned about the windstorm down in Johnson County and Ellis County, so that's not surprising. So I don't see any. Certainly, I don't see any hail reports at all in these storms. Now, like I said, doesn't mean. I mean, I would be surprised if there was some pea-sized hail, maybe even some marble-sized hail, but I haven't seen that yet. But that's a good question, Kelly. Yeah, preparing now. How extensive penny golf ball? Oh gosh, Kelly, I don't think we're going to see golf ball. Boy, I hope not. It would the storm would have to really ramp up before we would see that, happen again. Is it out of the realm of possibility? No, but it's not looking as likely as it was before. And actually, I do not want that. That's the velocity. And speaking of velocity, it is something that tornadoes, even though they had a tornado warning just a little while ago, it was that circulation really ramped down pretty quick. So they either let it expire or cancel that. I wasn't watching. It's no longer in effect. So again, this is this is the hydrometer layer on the Doppler radar, and again, where you see red, those areas have the greatest potential to have hail. Doesn't mean that there's hail in every single one of them. It's just that the potential is there. So, like I said, when this line moves through, the main concern would be gusty winds. I think now that's kind of moved to the top. Gusty winds, as Andrew just said in the Facebook comments, saw a post of Venus is having 70-mile-an-hour winds. I haven't seen that officially, Andrew, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's definitely pretty windy up there. But that's the primary threat right now. Hail is a secondary threat. Yes, Kelly, stick to the basic prep. Yes, that is perfect. Stick to the basic prep of hail prep. Just make sure that if you need to upgrade your prep from basic to advanced, you can do it pretty quick. That's all I'll say. But right now, we're not looking at that. Yes. So as Andrew said in the comments, 70-mile-an-hour winds, definitely a possibility. I don't think that's going to be a widespread thing. Now, like I said, though, if you're looking at the storm in Ellis County, that's a totally different thing. And again, you can see just a bad situation from a wind standpoint. Now, again, interestingly enough, starting to see some broad rotation right here. But again, I don't certainly nothing that's going to prompt the Weather Service to issue a warning. I don't think, or since I say that, they probably will. But again, so if you know people that are down that way, just to give them a heads up. Just checking everything else. Hello, Roger. How high would a wind gust get? What could we see? That's a great question, Roger. So I think the way these storms are evolving, which is, like I said, sort of what we thought, I guess probably a better way to put it is what we were hoping, is that, that the hail threat especially would die down, which so far it has, and then but the wind threat would kind of increase as the night went on, and we're definitely seeing that in the storm, as you can see on this radar depiction in Ellis County. Wouldn't be surprised to see some 70, 80-mile-an-hour wind gust out of that. But overall, for most of, let me go back to reflectivity here. Let's see. All right, so we kind of get a broader picture here. So again, basically from the northern part of Collin County down, just west of US 75, kind of going through Frisco at the moment, about to hit Plano, coming into Carrollton, just at the airport, and then of course a little bit of a break around I-30 and I-20 in Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, and then of course this windstorm that's about to hit Waxahachie. So for Dallas County and most of Collin County, I think hopefully the worst of the worst would be some 40, 50 mile an hour wind gusts. Not great, but certainly not 70, and some maybe penny size hail, which again wouldn't be great, but again that's something we can deal with, that's for sure. So I think right now that's a higher end threat we have right now, which is really good news because hopefully everything else will be below that. So we're coming up on 8:30, and so for most of us, again from the Metroplex, from Collin County, Dallas County, and then Ellis County east, then we are still dealing with this storm. If you're in Denton County, except the southeastern part of Denton County, and most of Tarrant County and Johnson County, you're kind of in the clear, so that's good. Hey, Nick. Boy, I tell you what, man. Nick, my buddy from Georgia. What do you see for Georgia? Well, you're not out of the woods totally, Nick, but most of the really bad stuff's going to be north of you guys, so that's good. But I'll have to double check. I've been, as you can imagine, I've been focused on North Texas. But good to hear from you, buddy, man. We need to get together. I know it's hard to get together in Georgia, but need to do that at some point. All right, so let's put this in motion here real quick. Get down here. Okay, so like I said, again, you can see the motion east-northeast. I think, as I mentioned just a second ago, I think, it is something that's going to be stormy, like I said. The only severe thunderstorm warnings we have right now are for southern Dallas County, south of I-20, and most of Ellis County, probably all of Ellis County now to look at it. And that's for a pretty bad windstorm that's going on south of there. So if you know anybody that lives in that area, especially if you know anybody that lives in Terrell, Kaufman, Forney, may stay south of that location, not so much Kaufman, but maybe Terrell and Forney, but it's going to be close. So you just want to give them a heads up that a pretty good damaging wind threat is headed their way. Okay, so with that, I don't see. Yes, Nick. Yeah, we need to get together soon. Absolutely, yes, sir. So I'll look for a few more comments before I sign off. So I don't see. I guess the bottom line is this, and matter of fact, I'll stop this before I do that. There we go. So just FYI, and Misty, if you're still watching. Looks like they are going to issue, I would guess, a severe thunderstorm watch for areas east and southeast of Dallas-Fort Worth. That will probably include you. They haven't actually issued it yet, but it looks like they're going to. So just heads up on that. And again, Misty, if you're still watching, gusty winds are going to be the biggest threat for you. Hail to a lesser extent, so definitely be prepared for that. Okay, so bottom line is this. It's going to be stormy next couple of minutes, 30 minutes or give or take, depending on where you're at. And then for the most part, it's going to be over. And then the rest of the week, as I mentioned this morning, going to be fairly nice and, have a period of good weather. And then we'll do it all again next week. And I hesitate to even bring that next week up because everybody knows what next Monday is our annular eclipse, total solar eclipse. And, the cloud forecast is not looking great. I don't want to get into too much details about that right now because even though the cloud forecast doesn't look great, there's a few glimmers of hope, no pun intended, that we might not see as bad of cloud cover as we could see. Although by the same token, we could see, ironically, we could see a weather pattern just like this next Monday. So how ironic would that be? Dealing with severe weather and eclipse in the same time, that would be something else, and only in North Texas. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves there. So, Kara, could we get missed altogether? Yeah, we could. And that's a very astute observation because I was going to mention that too. Although I hate to do that because when you say, "Hey, yeah, it's going to miss Saxy," and then usually we get slammed. But yeah, no, Kara's right. So, and for those of y'all may not kind of get what she's looking at. So there's a little bit of a break right here, and then you see the general motion is this way. So yes, we could. The thing about that is, while there's a break now, it could fill in rather quickly. So, but having said that, yes, I'll take my chances with these storms splitting, and we kind of saw this. A couple of the models did show that there wasn't really any model I looked at that showed a solid line of squall line, if you will. Most of the models had some kind of breaks in it, and I think that's exactly what you're seeing. Like I said, if you're in Grayson County north of Collin County, you're not seeing a whole lot. Then all the Collin counties getting a pretty good storm, and then kind of a little break in Dallas County, except for the very northern part, which is moving northeast, and then you got the stronger storm south of us. So. It could. If I just get some rain out of it, I'll be thrilled. I know Kara will too. Okay, yes, I'm good with that too. No large hail. Well, right now, Kara, we do not have a situation right now to where that would be a likelihood at this point, which is good. All right, so we're going to zoom in one more time and kind of give y'all a picture of what's going on. And so, let's try that. It would be help if put it in motion. So again, as Kara astutely pointed out, you do see this break that's been kind of following I-30, ironically, but it has that east-northeast movement. And so, yeah, that could, ironically, that could be a reverse bullseye for Saxe. I would take a little rain out of it. I'll put it that way. Even though we've had a lot of rain this spring, just the garden's getting a little dry, so I would definitely like some rain, that's for sure. Nothing else, though. No wind, no hail, anything like that. Okay, so with that, I don't see any more questions in the chat. If you have another question after I sign off, then obviously put that in the comments on the post, and I will definitely get to that the best I can. If I have a thought or if I feel like we have a need to hop back on, which means things have gone south weather-wise. But hey, that's what we do. But hopefully not, and hopefully it'll just be a stormy night, and then we can all go to bed after that. I will say this. Speaking of that, is that this is not an all-night thing. This is not something that's going to keep you up all night. So that's the good news. So I would even say it's a little after 8:30 now. I would say that even if you go to bed at 10, you're probably fine. Cross your fingers on that one. So, but like I said, I'll continue to watch it. And as always, I appreciate y'all tuning in. And of course, I'm always watching the weather, so you don't have to. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in. I will be back if needed, but in a weird way, hopefully not. And then we can just get through these storms, and then we can go from there. But it is a volatile situation, and I will be on top of it for sure. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we will talk to you soon.